Just like to ask everyone before we begin to please silence all electronic devices. You mind that? Remember, take it out. Check. So we could have proper dignity and decorum as you start the service. My name is Rabbi Binyamin Blau. I have the honor of serving as the rabbi of Green Road Synagogue, where Liz Tuly was a long time member. We're going to start with a verse from Tilim, a parak from Psalms. Mizmar le David, it is parak Chaf Gimel. Mizmar le David, Adonai Rawi lo echzor, binos teshayar bitzeni amemenuchos yinahaleini. Nafshi yishovev, yancheni magle tzedek leman shemo. Kam ki elech begeitz al maveth, lo iwara ki ato imadi. Shiftecha mishantecha heima yenachamuni. Tarach lefanai shulcha neged zoriroi. Tishanta vashem en roshi kosi rivaya. Ach tov v'chesed yudafuni kol yemei kayai. V'shavti veis Adonai li'orech yamim. This is Psalms chapter 23. A song of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not lack. God makes me lie down in lush pastures. God leads me beside tranquil waters. God restores my soul and guides me in righteous paths for God's name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your scepter and staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in full view of my adversaries. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for length of days. We have gathered here today to pay our respects to Gittel Bat Shaya, or they mentioned a longtime member of the Green Road Synagogue and really a link to her previous generation. I look around at the group today, see many friends of the family, see many people who were her friends for many years, and it really is, in a certain sense, an end of a generation, not just for the Green Road Synagogue, but for our community at large. How many people do we have who really went and grew up in what we call the Altaheim, the old home? That was their place of origin. And they transmitted a certain lifestyle, a certain feeling to the next generation follows, and every passage is another loss in the link of the chain, and we have to cherish their memories. Liz led a challenging life. It was difficult for her all the way back at the origins in Europe, and it was difficult for those around her, but thankfully now, she's at peace. In many ways, her coming to this country and her surviving the Shoah in a unique form were really nothing short of miraculous. She grew up, and I try to pronounce it correctly. The boys told me yesterday, I hope I get it right. Verhergemant, no? Yes? Close enough. I'm sorry. My Yiddish is pretty good, I think, but Hungarian is not quite as good. A small shtetl, a small town in Hungary. And the family was a family that was very involved in the community. Her father worked for the Duke. And he realized what was going to happen. He saw where the winds were blowing, and he came and he raised a little bit of money and came to America. And then he brought his wife, and amazing to understand the nature of the time, his children were staying still in Europe, in this small town. He was hoping to raise enough money to bring his children with them. The shtetl took care of them until there was such time. And then he sent money over back home to the mayor of the small town, and the mayor stole the money. And he used the money on his own. And you would think that who knows how that story could have ended. The story could have been a tragic one. After all, we know what happened to the Jews of Hungary. But Liz's mother worked for this wealthy woman in New York, and one time the wealthy woman sent her to buy a lottery ticket. And she said, how am I going to go out to buy a lottery ticket? I don't have money for my husband. I don't have money for my table. How am I going to go and buy this ticket? And the woman said, okay, if we win, we'll split the earnings. And an incredible story, they won. The hand of God was watching out for them. They won, and they split, and each one got the princely sum at that point in time of $1,200, which was a lot of money back in the 1930s. And they enabled the rest of the family to come, and that really saved her life. Had that not happened, who knows what would have befallen her in the horrors that happened in Hungary and the horrors of the Holocaust. Initially, they came to Brooklyn, New York, before joining the Mishpacha and many landsmen here in Cleveland. The family was in the dry cleaning business, and they remembered finally that she worked at Sterling, Linder, and Davis all the way back in the early years. Her future husband was boarding in the Kinsman section. They were set up by mutual friends. and they got married in 1958. First, they settled in DeSoto in Cleveland Heights, and then they took up residence in South Euclid, where they spent much of their life in South Euclid. The family was the old-time system. The husband was the Schwere Arbeiter. He was the one who did all the hard work, and she was the Balabasta. She was the one who took care of the house. She was an individual who was selfless. She loved others more than herself, only concerned with what others could have. She would give away money to all types of charities. The family would get nervous that she'd watch things late at night and give away to all the things she saw on the TV as well. But it was a beautiful midah, a beautiful characteristic, a beautiful character trait. That selflessness, the need, a concern for others, never for herself, always for the ones around her. She had a real tremendous love for her grandchildren. She had a tremendous love of animals. Again, a selfless love that expanded beyond her, not for herself. Many times we talk about a famous idea that in the Ark, in the Aron HaKodesh, in the great Ark, there were the luchos, there were the tablets that Moses took down, but there were also the shivrei luchos, the broken tablets. Both of them were contained in the Aron. Both of them were contained in the Ark. In many ways, she was a broken tablet, had a difficult life, but she persevered. And in many ways, the best way to say was, she was a starker. She was a very strong, tough personality. In many ways, though she had avoided the horrors of the Holocaust, she was a survivor. She survived a great deal of difficulty. She survived being able to continue after her husband had passed away. Here was a situation where he had taken care of everything. And the family recounted she didn't know how to balance a checkbook. She didn't know how to do anything. He had been the one who took care of everything. He passed on, and she persevered. She figured it out. She figured out things for herself, and she moved forward. She was very stubborn. Some things didn't change. They tried to get her to drive. That never really happened. Certain patterns weren't going to change, but she was a very, very strong personality. Later on, when she was ill, she spent many years in Menorah Park. We actually have Steve Regelson here, who took amazing care of her. They did a wonderful job, and there was a point in time when the family thought she was really going to pass on. She'd become gravely ill. She hadn't eaten for 2 whole weeks. She was in hospice, and the family was just waiting for what they thought was going to be inevitable. This is more than 4 years ago. And then after 2 weeks, all of a sudden she woke up, and she started yelling at the staff, "Why haven't you fed me? I'm hungry." There was a strength of personality. It's so difficult. She'll tell you the story later. She'll give you all the rest of the details. A long life. Not often are lives so easy. Sometimes the lives can be challenging. It's hard. It's hard resettling in a new country. It's hard when you've grown up in a small shtetl in Hungary to be able to find your place in Cleveland, but she had a place here. She had friends who were with her for a long period of time. She had her family who cared deeply and did everything they could to try to improve her lot. Luchos and Shivrei Luchos Menachem Ba'aron. In the Ark, there were the full tablets and the broken tablets. This morning we note that these broken tablets have now been returned to the Aron. They've been returned to the Ark. Yehi Zachra Baruch. May her memory be a blessing. At this moment, I'll ask everyone to rise. We're going to say the memorial prayer. El Mali Rachamim Shokein Bamromim Hamtzei Menuchon Achonal Kanfei Ashkina B'malos Kedoshim B'Torim Kizor Arikia Mazirim Et Nishmas Gittel Bashaya Shachali Olama Bavor Shanachnu Mispalim Araskaret Nishmasa Began Eden to Heimenuchasa Lachain Balarachamim Yasti Rabbi Seser Knafav Liolamim Vitzvar B'Torachayim Et Nishmasa Adonahu Nachalasa V'Tanuach B'Shlama Mishkava V'Nomar Amen. Let's get everyone to please be seated. The interment will take place at Zion Memorial Park in the Green Road section. The family will be receiving friends at 6920 Longview Drive in Solon immediately today following the interment until 8. Tomorrow again at Wednesday between 2 to 4 and 7 to 9. There will be a service this evening, Ben Chamarv, at the home. We're calling it for 7. It'll be Jewish time. but we'll start 7-ish for Mincha and Marv this evening. Again, I thank you all for coming. We'll now do the tearing of the Kriya, and then we'll ask the pallbearers to come forth.